Right then, let's talk about a king. Not just any king, mind you. We're talking about Henry VIII. Think kings are just sitting on a gold chair? Wrong. Henry was the superstar of his day. Imagine a pop star, imagine a top athlete, imagine a very grumpy boss, all rolled into one fancy-coated package. He was handsome and clever when he was young. He wrote music, he spoke several languages, he was brilliant at sports. Everyone thought he was the bee's knees, but he had a dark side, a temper bigger than his palaces, and a habit of changing his mind and his wives. His day job was ruling England. His real obsession was getting a son, an heir. That obsession drove mad decisions. He broke with the Pope. He started his own church. He married and disposed of wives. It was all for a boy. He was a walking, talking drama machine. The Tudor court was like reality TV. It all started with Catherine of Aragon, Spanish princess tough as old boots, Henry's first wife for over 20 years. A very long time. All their sons died as babies, leaving them with just one daughter, Mary. He noticed a lady-in-waiting named Anne Boleyn, clever, stylish, absolutely refused to be his mistress. She wanted to be queen or nothing. This is where things get messy. To marry Anne, Henry needed to divorce Catherine. There was a snag. The Pope said no. Right, let's do a quick rundown of the wives. It's like a history lesson and a cautionary tale all in one. First up was Catherine of Aragon, the loyal one, divorced. Next, Anne Boleyn, the ambitious one. She promised Henry a son, but gave him a daughter instead, the future Elizabeth of it. When she failed to produce a boy, Henry grew tired of her and accused her of witchcraft and adultery. The verdict? Beheaded. Days later, Henry married Jane Seymour, the nice one. She finally gave him a son, Prince Edward. Henry declared Jane his one true love. Jane died from childbirth complications just days later. Next, Anne of Cleves, not as advertised. A political match, he'd only seen her painting. In person, he was disappointed. The marriage lasted 6 months and was annulled. Lucky escape. Finally, Catherine Howard, young and foolish. A teenager married to an old, grumpy Henry, accused, likely true, of an affair. Her fate? Beheaded. And last, Catherine Parr, the survivor. A kind older widow who nursed the ailing king. So divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. Oh. Henry wasn't just busy with wives and religion. He lived life at full volume. In his youth, he was a superstar athlete. His favourite sport was jousting. 2 blokes in metal suits, riding at each other with massive pointy sticks. It was incredibly dangerous, but Henry loved showing off his strength. And the food, oh the food, a Tudor feast was a sight to behold. We're not talking a few sandwiches and a bit of cake. We're talking about an endless parade of roasted meats, swans, peacocks, sometimes redressed in their feathers to look alive, venison, wild boar, hundreds of smaller birds. They ate with their fingers, using daggers to cut their meat. Henry had a massive appetite. As he got older and less active, all that feasting took its toll. Fashion was another of Henry's passions. He spent a fortune on clothes, velvet, silk, cloth of gold. His look was all about making him appear bigger and more powerful. And let's not forget the codpiece, the padded pouch at the front of his trousers. It started practical, then became a ridiculous fashion statement, getting bigger and more decorated. So after all the wives, the parties, the political dramas, what was left? Did Henry's wild life actually matter? The answer is a huge, resounding yes. His actions completely reshaped England. By breaking with the Catholic Church in Rome, he didn't just solve his marriage problems, he triggered the English Reformation. This was the single biggest change to English society for centuries. The Church of England, with the monarch as its head, was born. This is still the case today. The Queen of England is the leader of the church. The King of England is the leader of the church, all because Henry wanted a divorce. Henry ordered the closure of all the monasteries and convents in England. These weren't just religious houses, they were centres of learning, charity and healthcare. He saw them as loyal to the Pope and, more importantly, incredibly wealthy. He seized all their land and treasures. This act of destruction, called the dissolution of the monasteries, changed the English landscape forever, leaving behind the beautiful ruins we can still see today. Henry also changed the power of the monarchy itself. By making himself the head of the church, he concentrated more power in his own hands than any English king before him. He argued that he was chosen by God to rule both the country and the church, a concept called the divine right of kings. He got his son, Edward, who did become king, but died as a teenager. He was followed by his 2 daughters, Mary and then Elizabeth I. He was a monster who executed his friends and wives, but also a charismatic leader who built the foundations of a modern nation. Henry VIII proves that sometimes the most important moments in history happen not because of grand plans, but because of one person's very human, very messy, and very selfish problems.